Hey everybody, and welcome back to another one of Mudflap's movie reviews. My name is Mudflap, and today I will be reviewing Illumination's The Minions 2 Rise of Gru. Let's get started. The Rise of Gru is directed by Kyle Balda, and it stars Steve Carell, Pierre Coffin, Taraji P. Henson, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Julie Andrews, and Russell Brand. So we open the movie seeing Taraji P. Henson's character, Bell Bottom, who is the main leader of the main villain group focused on in this movie, the Vicious Six. The goal of this Vicious Six, they want to be the best villains of all time, and they're setting out on an adventure to find something called the Zodiac Stone, which will give them powers beyond anyone's wild imagination. It's all Zodiac power, so it's based on the Chinese calendar, and a bunch of things happen, and one of the founder, actually, Wild Knuckles, is cast out and he is on his own, but throughout the movie he ends up running into Gru, and Gru has a lot to learn from Wild Knuckles. Wild Knuckles is actually Gru's favorite villain from the Vicious Six. So I thought this movie was pretty good. I liked the first movie a lot better. I thought it was funnier, but this movie was still really enjoyable for me to watch. Lots of laughs. I really liked the setting. Most of it was in San Francisco in 1976, so a lot of crazy colors, awesome music, really cool trends just getting started, all the great 70s trends that you could hope for. This movie focused a lot on Gru. He's 10 years old at this point, and he's just trying to prove himself to his mom, but to everyone else, that he's going to be the best villain of all time. And he auditions to be the sixth member of the Vicious Six, and a whole bunch of things happen. He ends up actually stealing the Zodiac Stone to prove his worth, and that causes lots of problems for him. The Vicious Six unleashes, their terror among everyone else, and with the Minions' help, the Minions played a pretty key role in this movie. There are some side stories there too. They get the stone where it needed to be, but they also learn more and more about themselves. We got to see Kevin, Bob, and Stuart back again. This time, they learned Kung Fu, which I guess during the 70s, Kung Fu was like a really big thing. I mean, you got the song Kung Fu Fighting, which I'm sure a lot of people, after hearing that song, they wanted to learn about what Kung Fu had to offer. But we get to see that some of my favorite scenes actually were when Kevin, Bob, and Stuart were trying to learn Kung Fu from this Grandmaster, and they just weren't getting it, and the Minions just crack me up. Like, every time they do something, they just can't do it right. A lot of slapstick humor was thrown in this movie, and I loved it. I thought this movie had maybe a little too many storylines happening at once. That's really my only con. It wasn't as funny as the first movie. I felt some of the jokes were really forced. Some of them weren't, but I felt that the storylines were kind of all over the place, because we had Gru and Wild Knuckles doing their own thing. Then we had some of the Minions staying back and doing their own thing, and then Kevin, Bob, and Stuart were out over here, and then the Vicious Six were doing something over here. It just seemed a little discombobulated with the storylines. It was a simple plot, really. Like, the plot was Gru was trying to prove his worth. I know it was a Minions movie, but I know Gru was kind of the main focus of this movie this time, and the Minions were kind of thrown on the back burner. Maybe that's why I felt this movie wasn't as strong as the first one, because in the first movie, the Minions were the main focus, and there wasn't any other character there to sidetrack us from the main focus of the Minions. But I just felt like all the other characters kind of stole from, especially Gru. It was awesome seeing Gru. Steve Carell is just a hilarious guy. He did a great job, but I just felt he stole a little bit too much spotlight from the Minions, because after all, this is the Minions movie. Like, Gru had his own movies, all the Despicable Me movies, so that's just my opinion. I just felt like Gru could have had less spotlight, but after all, it was called The Rise of Gru, so it would make sense that they would have him in there as well. So I just felt it could have been a little more well balanced with scenes with the Minions and scenes with Gru. But like I said, I love this movie. I thought it was really funny. I highly recommend if you got kids. It's definitely a very, very kid-friendly movie. I think your kids are gonna love it. Lots of humor, definitely kid level humor, but also there's a lot of adult humor in there too. And then also I love that there are a lot of Easter eggs thrown in there from the first Minions movie, but a lot of Despicable Me Easter eggs thrown in there too. I thought it was really cool. There were a couple scenes that just made me smile, and the crowd definitely went, whoa, like, it was just really cool to see some of these characters returning to the screen. Just really cool, like, pointing the way, like, 40 some years later is when Gru started his Despicable Me journey. A couple of my favorite moments, I really thought the Kung Fu scene was really funny where the minions are first learning Kung Fu, but there's also a really funny plane scene as well where they're trying to get to San Francisco, they hijack a plane and they have no idea how to fly the plane, but they just do it in their own minions way. And it was just really, really funny, super creative. I can't say it enough how creative Pierre Coffin is with all the voices he does, but also how the director, Kyle Baldo, utilizes the minions in just so many different ways that you can't get bored with watching the minions because they're just so funny and there's endless things you can do with them. I mean, that's just what's so great about these movies. And I hope to see the minions more and more. I'm not sure if there's going to be another Minions movie or not. There probably won't be. But I'm pretty sure there's going to be another Despicable Me movie coming out in the next couple years, so we'll get to see the Minions return for that. So for this movie, I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10 Mudflaps. And before you go, drop in the comments below, which Despicable Me movie did you like the most? And as always, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and I'll see you next time.